Welcome back to my official YouTube channel. This is Gaurav Ayaan, and thanks for joining us, guys. We'll be discussing about yesterday match, the famous Australia and Windies match. I don't know what happened to Australia. We'll be discussing about that also, and Pakistan and what you call England match is also going on. So we'll be discussing that match also, and we have been joined by none other than my Australian mate Lucas, who will be giving the information what happened to Australia and what why did the batting collapse. And Soban has joined after 2 or 3 days. So welcome back to my show, mate. Guys, welcome back.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Okay, yesterday we did a show with Lucas, and I have announced the expected date of India versus Sri Lanka series. So I think today it is an official information, and the dates have been changed of India versus Sri Lanka series. So first, I need to announce that dates. Okay, the first ODI will be start from July 18. Second ODI will be starting from July 20. Third ODI is starting from July 23, and the T20 is starting from July 25. Second T20 July 27, and third T20 July 29. As I told you before, guys, it was expected date which I announced yesterday, so it has been officially confirmed, and the dates have been changed of India versus Sri Lanka series. So this is the new dates which I announced right now. Okay, moving on to the famous Australian and West Indies series. So we'll try to discuss with the Lucas. Lucas, what happened, mate, with Australia?
Well, what happened with Australia? They got off to a very good start with the Matthew Wade. He was fantastic. He made 33. Then Mitch Marsh took over, made 51. They made a couple of boundaries, covered a couple of sixes. But their middle order was without Steve Smith. Without some of their T20 players, they really struggled in that department. They didn't get much from their lower order as well. They didn't get anything from their tail enders. Again, Cummins is a power hitter. He could have had some valuable runs in that game. Could have scored a 20 or 30. He's not available for obvious reasons in this game. And it was a very poor batting performance. And unfortunately, it was not enough. Mind you, Australia were actually good with the ball. Hazelwood is absolutely fantastic.
There is no doubt about it.
He got 3 early wickets. He got out their top order. Gale went cheaply as well. Tried to do a pull shot that bounced more than he thought. So Hazelwood was absolutely fantastic. Unfortunately, the real letdown in that bowling unit was once again Mitchell Starc, who really let his team down. And now there is big concerns over his form. This isn't just a once-off. As you know, he had a very poor Indian series in Australia. And unfortunately, his form has translated into this. And it's a huge concern going into the T20 World Cup and, most importantly, the Ashes.
Okay, and I have one question. We'll discuss with Soban with also. Ananda said, "Don't you think Australia need a player to run the innings for a T20 overs? Someone like Steve Smith or Marnus Labuschagne?" I think he's talking about Marnus Labuschagne, but Australian cricket doesn't think that Marnus Labuschagne is a proper T20 player. Lucas?
No, they do not. They will not mess around with Labuschagne. He's simply a test player. The only T20 that he will play is Big Bash and probably the Blast in England, but they do not see him as a T20 player. They want to keep him as predominantly a test match player. Maybe they'll bring him in for a couple of the ODI series, but at this point in time, he's not an option. Another option that could be considered is Ashton Turner. A couple of years ago, he looked very good in India. In some matches, he's one player that has actually fallen out with the team for some reason. Probably hasn't made the runs domestically in the Big Bash as he'd like to. But as far as that question goes, Marnus Labuschagne is not considered for this T20 World Cup and will not play in this T20 World Cup.
Moving on to Soban. Soban, what happened to Australia?
Look, it was a game of two halves. Australia started really well. The way Matthew Wade batted, and it was like it was a like Australia wanted to blast. I felt they wanted to go really hammer and tongs in the first initial overs. They were successful, but sometimes you have
So
to.
basically, you're trying to say that they wanted to play like a England role more, England style, right?
Yeah, exactly. And they wanted to actually emulate what West Indies were trying to do in the initial overs. They were trying to
Yeah,
they were just trying to get the, because they knew that the total was very achievable in 147. And
Yeah,
Australia's batting lineup was again, the middle order was exposed. In the middle, the spinners did really well, and in the end, the ball was not coming onto the bat. So it was a clear strategy for Australia to go hammer and tongs in the first initial 5 to 6 overs. They were successful, but sometimes you need a player like Steve Smith who just can anchor the innings, just play that anchor
yeah,
sheet role. And they were missing him, because you need quality players in Windies track, because these tracks are spin prone to spin bowling. And in the middle, they lost wickets in bunches. If you look at the wickets, they were losing two. One gets two, two gets three. They say so.
yeah.
Absolutely delighted for West Indies, because sometimes I have seen West Indian teams in the past. They when they're hurt in the first initial overs, they lay flat. They don't try to get back into the game. But this West Indies side is really very well suited to all junctures of the game. At the end, it was a kind of tame end to the match, where everybody knew that West Indies are going to win, because at the end there were also a lack of power hitter at the end. Mitchell Stark and Ashton Agar, they all just gave away the wickets, but it was very achievable. At one stage, I guess it was 73 balls and 57 runs. So
Yeah.
I felt it was a match thrown by Australia.
Yeah, and
yeah. We
as Shobhan mentioned, you need a player like Steve Smith. I completely agree with him, especially in these kind of totals. You need a player like Steve Smith, or even a player who can strike continuously at 120 without taking a too much risk in this low score of totals. That really helps a team to chase this kind of total easily. Lucas?
Yeah, well, we saw with West Indies, we saw Russell stand up big time. He
Yeah,
made he made 5 sixes, I think, in that game, and he took the game away from Australia quite quickly. He also hit 3 fours as well.
yeah,
Australia, they have Ashton Turner, but they're not using him. As I said, he's falling out, so they need that power hitter late in the innings when there is a collapse. As we
yeah,
saw with West Indies, there was a mini collapse. Gale went cheaply. The opener went cheaply by Hazelwood. He picked up 3 quick wickets. But, the main difference was Russell in this game. His late power hitting kept West Indies to a respectable total. And unfortunately, Australia did not have that in their lower order. Now, they had Mitch Marsh. So stop the damn presses. Mitch Marsh
exactly.
making some runs, making a 50. Stop the presses. Hallelujah. Where was this in the Test series a couple of years ago?
Yeah,
But apart from that, there is no one available at this tour, so they're going to really struggle in their middle order a lot. We obviously have no Steve Smith. Also David Warner is not in this tour as well, so opening is going to be a problem. Now I thought Matthew Wade, who's not really an opener, did very well in this game, considering he bats at 5 or 6 in the national team. So he's
That
one
you're
player that
talking about in the test matches. In test matches, he bats at number five, number six. But for the Big Bash League, he also opens with his team. I think he's a proper
yeah
T20.
yeah he opens with the Hobart Hurricanes in the Big Bash. But the opening role is still new to him now. He did open a couple of times in the Test match series, where he actually looked pretty good before he stupidly threw his wickets away in those games, especially in the second innings where he tried to take on Ashwin too many times and threw it away. So it is kind of a new position for him. But he did really well, and so did Mitch Marsh. But the problem was there was nothing in that lower order. There was nothing in the middle order to support those two guys. And while West Indies, they had Russell, who made those big power sixes, and that was really the difference of the game.
Okay, moving on to Soban. Soban, I need to ask one serious question to you. Don't you think Australian team has too many batsmen who bats on the top three? Because once you see Aaron Finch bats at number three, bats in top three, even for his T20, what you call the Melbourne Renegades team. Okay, he bats in the top three, and even he's an T20 opener. Matthew Wade, he can directly bat at in top three. Okay, once Marcus Stoinis comes in, he's also top in top three kind of a batsman. Okay, Josh Philippe is playing right now. He's batting at number four, batting at number four, but he's also our top three batsmen who can bat at top three. Okay, and Mitchell Marsh currently batting at number three. Okay, and there are lots of guys who can who is a top order batsman but can't play what you call at the strike rate of 180 in the lower down the middle order, and that's the big reason Australia lacking in the T20 cricket. Soban.
Yes, you can say so, because I feel that's a big concern when it comes to T20 batting. We have seen it
Yeah.
with Sunrisers Hyderabad, where everybody was. We have seen it with Delhi Capitals, where they had
Yeah.
4 to 5 openers, and they picked openers, and some players, some opening batters were had to move down to just accommodate and just to play, just to find a place in the team. So for Australia, if you look, Wade, Finch, Philippi, Hendricks, both these players actually bat in the top of the order when it comes to
Yeah.
BBL, when it
Leads.
comes to T20 cricket. But I was surprised with Mitchell Marsh's promotion, batting at number three, because he's a kind of a player who can definitely change the course of the game. We have not seen him in the recent. I mean, I have seen him in the recent, in the BBL. He was just smacking it to all parks, and I was little disappointed with Josh Philippe, because he was batting really well in the domestic game. In the warm-ups, in the intra squad game, he played some wonderful shots. Ben McDermott, I guess, he's a top order player. He's a player of
Yeah.
promise. He should be definitely. He should. I think if you are playing a player of kind of a Ben McDermott, then you should play him at number three, because for all the viewers, batting in the top positions is very easy in T20 and one day cricket.
Yeah.
The difficult positions are 5, 6, and 7, where you have to
Seven.
build an innings and then change gears. I don't think Australia really changed. They just went in the fifth gear. They didn't have any plan in the middle order, and they lost it. And there were no Dan Christian again. He is 37, and he's very experienced. But if you're depending on Dan Christian at this stage of the tournament, at this stage of his career, then you are in trouble, because we have seen it in RCB. He didn't perform really well in couple of matches. He got opportunity, but then because he is not used to play quality leg spin, and he's not used to bat with a spinning ball. Maybe that's why he was stumped. And
Yeah. Yeah.
I was surprised to see Dan Tristan in the team. Maybe because if Marcus Stoinis comes back, then Dan Tristan may give away his place. But I have seen Australia in the past, in 2014, they picked Cameron White. They just brought him in, and he went to Bangladesh to play. So I don't know why, but when it comes to big tournaments, they suddenly try to bring some of the some of the experienced players, and I feel that's a strategy that has gone wrong in the past, and they have to do something to improve it.
But the main reason, Soban, is I think they don't have a lower down middle order batsman who can smack at 180 strike rate, and there is only Dan Christian. Glenn Maxwell is not available. Marcus Stoinis is also not available. Maybe this is the reason, and probably Dan Christian has a very good big bash league that's made him Australian comeback also.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. You have to reward performances, or else if you don't reward performances, then players will be demotivated. Players won't perform in the Big Bash League, because they think like if they have no chance to represent Australia, then they might have the second thought. So yes, again, I feel Australia lost it in the middle overs. But a professional side, you can't expect this from a professional side like Australia, very seasoned. They have seasoned performers in the middle order, so they will come back. They will come back strongly. This is quite a, actually this is going to be a very dangerous side, because if you look at the bowling attack and the middle order, it's actually very powerful. It's just one off, I would say.
Okay, moving to Lucas. Lucas, just seeing the future of Australian once they will start playing a T20 World Cup, what where they will fix batting orders according to the situation, because David Warner will also coming back. I don't know about Steve Smith, but David Warner will be also coming back. And what is the future of Josh Philippi in T20 cricket? Will he be batting at number three in Australia for T20 World Cup? Or Mitchell Marsh is the probably three number batsman which they are trying. What are the options Australia have right now? Because I am seeing
Honestly,
probably they are having too many top three batsmen who can bat a top three. Sorry, go ahead.
honestly, I don't think David Warner will be back for the Cricket World T20 World Cup. I think he'll stay in
Okay.
Australia. Steve Smith will definitely stay in Australia, but by playing Dan Christian, it probably just tells you how seriously they are in this T20 series. And
Yeah.
no disrespect to West Indies, but I don't think Australia care about this series.
Yeah.
To tell the truth, they've made a lot of dodgy calls in the middle order. I wouldn't have played Dan Christian. I wouldn't have played Mitch Marsh. But Mitch Marsh is a whipping boy.
Sorry to interrupt you. What are the options you have if you're saying that you won't play Mitchell Marsh, you don't play Dan Christian? What are the options you have in the squad? You need to mention that also, because Stoinis is not available, Maxwell is not available in this tour.
Well, obviously Marcus Stoinis is not there, and Glenn Maxwell are not there, but they definitely will be there for the
Yeah.
T20 World Cup. There's no doubt about that. They will 100% be there. So the openers, obviously, they'll put Wade up there. If Warner cannot play, I don't expect him to play. They'll have Warner and Finch. Number 3, they'll probably have Phillips at 3. Number 4, they'll probably have Mitch Marsh. Then 5, they will probably have Maxwell, then Stoinis. And then the bowlers. I don't expect Hazelwood to be there. I think he'll come home after the
Yeah.
Caribbean series. He'll go
Because
back
he
to
hasn't
Sheffield.
played 2019 World Cup also just because of Ashes series, if you remember, guys.
Yeah. I think he'll come back home. He'll play in the Sheffield Shield. Same with David Warner and Steve Smith.
No, he was
Uh,
playing, I guess. I guess Lucas, he was playing again in the World Cup 2019. He was playing.
Yeah,
No,
a couple of
he wasn't a part of the 2019 World Cup. Just Josh Hazelwood wasn't a part of 2019 World Cup.
No.
Yeah.
Mitchell Stark was.
Yeah,
No, he's one. I think he's one of the bowlers that will stay. I think he will stay and play in the T20 World Cup. Personally, I think he should be out of there. He's completely out of form. He needs to go back to Sheffield Shield. At the very least, he needs to go back to club cricket. If he's going to bowl like this in the Ashes, I'm sorry, mate, but you can't be picked. He was absolutely dreadful today or yesterday, whatever time zone you're in. He was absolutely dreadful, bowling short and wide. That was his problem in the Indian series. And he needs to get out of there ASAP. I would remove him today. That's how bad he was. I would remove him right now and send him home today. I would send him over today, because there was nothing in this game that showed me that he's worked on anything whatsoever that he was struggling with in the Test series. He was bowling short and wide. We saw Russell get completely play him out of the park, and there was nothing that showed me that he was working on anything. He needs to be pulled out of there, and he needs to be sent home immediately. That's what I would do, because he has learned absolutely nothing.
I would ask Lucas, why did you say that Stephen Smith or David Warner won't be a part? Why do you say that?
Because of the Ashes. Now, the main reason is that
if mentioned that he won't be taking part of I think the World Cup. He mentioned that.
Yeah, it hasn't been official. Steve Smith has said that he prefers to play Sheffield Shield than the T20 World Cup. Now, what you probably don't know, and the fans don't know watching this channel, is that if Australia make the final, they have to quarantine in Australia for 14 days, and that clashes with the Afghanistan Test match. So they could go into the Ashes completely underdone They could go into the first test of the Ashes not playing not one single 4-ball tournament, and I cannot see David Warner, Hazelwood, and Steve Smith going to the T20 World Cup and risking that. I didn't see that. They need to play in that one-off warm-up game, if you want to call it a warm-up game, against Afghanistan. And the only person I see in that Test team going to the T20 World Cup and staying is Mitchell Starc. But personally, I think he should be out of there, in my opinion.
So all the players won't be a part of the IPL. Then if they're not part of World T20.
I think players like Hazelwood, he's a part of the Test team. I think he'll come home. I don't think he'll play IPL. Glenn Maxwell, Stoinis, they will stay, and they'll go to the IPL. But the Test players that are supposed to be playing Test matches will stay there, and the Test players that are at home, like David Warner, Nathan Lyon, and that will stay where they are. I can only see Mitchell Starc staying and playing in that T20 World Cup.
Will Mitchell Marsh play for SRH? Mitchell Marsh?
Yeah.
I presume he will play in that T20 World Cup. He's not going to go anywhere near that Test team, let's be honest. So there's no reason why he should come home.
And what about the obsession with the Australian Test team with the the fast bowling all-rounder they have? I think what is his name? I'm forgetting his name. The guy who
Cameron Green.
Cameron Green. He will be in the playing 11, right? Okay, guys.
He will not. Cameron Green will stay home. He will not be part of that T20 World Cup.
Yeah.
Just Gaurav, I wanted to ask something to Lucas. How is the media coverage of Australia versus West Indies? Is it a big series, or you don't have any media? He's smiling.
For 2 days out of this game, we didn't even have a broadcaster for it. It was going to be on YouTube. That's how little we cared. Now, Fox Sports did pick it up 24 hours before the game started, but there was literally no media. The only person that did criticize it works for Fox Sports, and he has to criticize us because it's his job. Apart from that, it's not been on the TV. It hasn't been on any news channels. There's little to zero interest.
So I don't think it matters a lot. I mean, I don't think Australian commentator Brendan Julian or anyone has traveled to West Indies. Even they also have all West Indian commentators.
It's all West Indian commentary. We heard from Curly Ambrose. He's there doing commentary. There's none of the Australian commentators.
Are you getting any radio? ABC is covering this game?
No, nothing. No. So it's if there was a test match involved, then you would get a commentator over here. It would be on radio. Yeah. But because it's just a white ball series, there is really little to know. It could pick up during the 50-over series, but I doubt it. But at this moment, there's very little interest.
Okay, so moving on to our next topic, England versus Pakistan ODI is also going on, and England have made 247. They have been all out in the 46th over. The match was only for 47 overs, and currently Pakistan is 53 for 3. So what's your take on this match, guys? We'll start from Lucas. Lucas, go ahead.
Well, what is concerning for Pakistan is Babar Azam's his form has been dreadful. Zimbabwe series, South African series, first ODI game, and now this. That's a big concern for Pakistan in their T20 World Cup hopes.
Just got the breaking news that 53 for 4.
Okay, well, that with all due respect, that they should have whitewashed England with all the number of players they've got out due to COVID.
Yeah.
Not so much their batting stocks, but their bowling stocks that were hit extremely hard, and it's unacceptable. And if I was a Pakistan fan, I would really be angry. If this was Australia, and if Australia, this is a full strength Pakistan team. Don't forget. If Australia had a full strength team, Hazelwood, Starc, Cummins, Warner, Smith, and they played like this against England, I guarantee you they would be smashed in the media. It's just not acceptable. Babar Azam is the captain. I'm not convinced on his captaincy, with all due respect. I never was. I don't think he's the right leader for Pakistan. But having said that, they have really nobody else to lead, so they'll
Yeah,
probably just give it
the
to their
option
best.
is also there.
Yeah, yeah. So they've their policy is giving it to their best player, which is of course Baba Azam, and I think since got the captaincy, he's really struggled a bit. But there's no one else to lead, so he will continue with that, and he needs to push through that mentally. I think he's struggling mentally with this, because
Yes.
he's made absolutely nothing since he's been made captain. I think he's made, is it 100? I'm trying to what test series that this is against South Africa. I think he made 100.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure about that. If that,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
he's
yeah,
really,
yeah.
he's really struggled since being captain. I don't think he's handling properly. Some players actually love being captain, some players don't. But then again, if you said here's the captaincy, are you really going to say no? So that's a mental barrier he needs to push. And a four strength Pakistan, this is not good enough. Considering that this is England's B team, especially in their bowling stocks outside of Ben Stokes, and it's just not good enough.
Okay, moving on to Soban. Soban, what one interesting point I want to make it about Pakistan, because in the media, if they manage to win a series, they won't be given so much credit because it is England B and England C team, whatever you can call it. But if they lose with this England team, they would be getting bashed all over the Pakistan media. They will be making a lot of fun. Go ahead.
Okay, yes, absolutely. Like I have seen Pakistan cricket struggle, but this is a lot of investment has been made to
Yeah,
PSL. Everything has gone right for Pakistan in the last couple of years in terms of management, in terms of broadcast, in terms of media, and everything else of the field. But nothing has gone right, and I feel sometimes they have been over criticized. Sometimes they're pampered. So I feel there should be a big balance. And as Lucas said, I don't think. Babar Azam is such a brilliant leader. He's a good leader, but he's not a brilliant leader. But you need brilliance to at this level. I feel I've heard a lot of comments from Pakistani experts calling for Rizwan to become the captain because he is also an inspirational character. He also under his leadership, I guess his team Multan Sultans won the
yeah,
trophy.
won the
So that's
PSL.
why he's a terrific captain, and he's a good leader. But looking at Pakistan cricket, sometimes this crop of cricketers are very underconfident. If you look at them, if you look at their body language, they played really well in the Test series. Only the first Test, the second and third, they were beaten convincingly by England when they toured England, and in T20 they made a comeback. But that was not the top English side they were facing, and this side, this English side is really the yes, it is good, but it's not brilliant, it's not the best. But if you can't beat this side, then I guess you have to ask a lot of questions to yourself, or a lot of questions to your ability, to your talent. So I feel Pakistan have been ambushed by the weather, by the playing conditions. They are a lot of things going wrong for them, and they have got a good bowling attack. The batting is decent, but they're just not clicking at the right time. You need to click. Somebody has to pick up the slack. Somebody has to score that 70-80. That is not happening for Pakistan.
Yeah, you actually mentioned it very well. Their test team over the last couple of years, their test team has actually been very good. Rizwan has been a very good keeper batsman. He had a very good tour of Australia. And they've got Yasir Shah, their spinner. They've got Shah, the 19-year-old. So it seems to me that they're more focusing on red ball cricket compared to white ball cricket, which is very weird for Pakistan, because over the last 5-10 years it's been nothing but white ball cricket, and they're producing such
But
good bowl.
if you're saying about the red ball cricket has started Pakistan have started to produce good red ball cricket in couple of months, because once Mohammad Wasim has taken over with the chief selector role, he has started to give a credit to a domestic cricket performance also. With the likes of Fawad Alam has joined this team after 11 years of performance in domestic cricket,
Yeah,
because none of the selector were giving a credit to the Fawad Alam and all this. Okay, and the one more point I want to make it, because Pakistan have made a domestic cricket what do you call a joke, because they have copied the style of Australian domestic cricket structure. Okay, they've made a same copy with their domestic cricket also. So and plus one more thing, they don't give credit to their domestic cricket performance. They pick players from PSR performance in OD and especially in the white ball format. So is this the main reason behind their lack of performance in the white ball cricket?
Well,
Lucas?
I guarantee you, if Australia, had an Ashes series coming up, and if one player from the Big Bash League scored, 300s in a row, I guarantee you he wouldn't be picked in the Ashes team.
Yeah.
You pick the players that are suited to the best format. So you pick the T20 players that are doing domestically. You pick them for T20 and ODI cricket. You don't pick them for Test match. You don't pick the best Test matches to pick the best ODI and T20. It just never works. And we saw that with Jason Roy in the Ashes. That was a complete disaster for England. And it just history says that just does not work. Now over time, David Warner, who was a white ball cricketer starting, over time,
Yeah.
it has worked. He was one of a good success, from white ball cricket to Test match player. But
He isn't just an exception.
yeah, but with David Warner, he also, he plays a lot of red ball cricket for New South Wales.
Yeah.
Outside of the IPL, he doesn't really play many T20 domestic. He doesn't go to he doesn't play Pakistan. He doesn't play in England. He doesn't play in Bangladesh. He after his IPL, he goes back to the Sheffield Shield in New South Wales. And I think nations like Pakistan, Sri Lanka, India, they're a little bit guilty of picking Test match players for white ball cricket and white ball players for red ball cricket.
No. It is still happening in Pakistan cricket now. We don't. If you're talking about Indian cricket, Indian cricket don't pick player with the performance of IPL and all this. Indian player, if you see any players, they have a 30 or 40 domestic cricket matches, then they pick in the international team. Moving on to the Soban. Soban, is this the reason that behind that the lack of domestic cricket experience is the reason of failures of the new players or even even a guy who played 30 40 ODs? Because if you see all these guys, they haven't played too much of a domestic cricket and they're still playing international cricket. So
I believe the problem is much more deep rooted. So, I guess Harsha Bhogle said made a very good statement that the country's economy also reflects how the cricket team plays. If you look at
okay.
if you look at the political or the economic scenario of Pakistan, they are just reeling. I mean, they're just floating on the water. That is also a very clear indication by the way they're playing their cricket. They're just floating. They're not at all performing exceptionally. They're performing very badly in terms of the investment. Look at New Zealand. Nothing. If you look at New Zealand, the stocks, the finances,
Yeah.
everything has been against them. They've just got their backs against the wall. But if you look at Pakistan, if you look at Sri Lanka, so much of effort, so much of fan following they have. All the sponsors in Pakistan, you only have to play cricket if you want to become a star, or you want to.
Yeah.
If you want to lead a very good life, you just have to play cricket. You just have to score runs. Same in India, and maybe Lucas would also agree. The big sponsors, maybe in Australia, they will think about cricket, or they will think about AFL, or they will think about the rugby or football. But in Pakistan, if you are a big sponsor, you just have to invest on cricket. Everything has, in terms of the, again, I have to reiterate that everything has gone right in terms of management, in terms of putting the money, in terms of putting the effort. But the on the field stuff, again, they are not confident enough to produce the results. Sometimes you have to play that the Fakhar Zaman innings, the way he played at Johannesburg, 194
Yeah.
against South Africa. They really had a great tour to South Africa. They should have followed it. Again, the inconsistency is something that differentiates between a good team to a bad team. Inconsistency or consistency, I would say. Pakistan, never in their past, the way their history is built, They've always been inconsistent and always been 1 minute up and 1 minute down, as Nasir Hussain did that
Yes,
brilliant
yes,
piece
yes.
of comment in the 2017 Champions Trophy final. So they are suffering. That is because of the reason they're not putting efforts. And we also, if you Gaurav, you remember, we had a Pakistani expert, the Pakistani cricket expert. He said like the players from Pakistan are all trying to copy Shahid Afridi's batting style. So there is no there is no one to follow. I mean, they don't follow Inzama Mulhaq, or they don't follow Saeed Anwar or Javed Miadad. They all follow Saeed Afridi. They want the temperament. They don't have temperament. They don't know how to stay at the crease. They're very jittery when they come. If you look at Rizwan, or if you look at Imam Mulhaq, they all are like Steve Smith. I mean, Steve Smith is a legend. Steve Smith uses it in a very good way, but they are fidgety. They are always not comfortable. They want to become a star in every. They want to give a statement at every ball. This is not the way to play cricket. You have to stick to the basics, and Pakistan players don't to stick to the basics. That's why they're suffering.
And
Okay,
you
guys.
mentioned, you mentioned New Zealand cricket. We had our guest from New Zealand the other day, and he said their
Michael
domestic
Bradley.
league is yeah. He said their domestic league is stronger than ever.
Yeah.
Something you
Yes.
probably can't say about Pakistan, which is again why they're struggling in their white ball cricket.
Yeah.
And that's the point I raised out earlier, that if you play longer innings in domestic cricket, that will make you grow stronger again,
Mm.
and to play good innings in international cricket. If you play in T20, where you smash every ball out of the park, your technique will be fragile, and you will be what you call targeted in international cricket very shortly, because you have seen there every analyst in the team goes with the team. Okay, so people have find out the weakness of every player, and
Yeah,
that's the main concern. If you play a good amount of domestic cricket, you will be definitely will be there is more chances of you are getting success in international cricket also.
yeah, that's right. There's no point smashing the ball. A million miles an hour. You need to have a good defense. Now,
Yep.
I've been as you two know, I've been watching the Zimbabwe and Bangladesh Test match, and there's this guy, Kayento, who's made a 80 ball two, and he's a number three. So you know, obviously they don't have problems down there with their
And
defense. So
Soban, off the camera, he was mentioning that we have found next Cheteshwar Pujara, Lucas.
yeah, well,
Okay, guys. And final prediction on this match. Who will win? Currently, Pakistan is 56 for 4, and they will be chasing 247. Sorry, seven. The current score is 70 for 4, and they will
in
be chasing 247 in 47 overs. What's your prediction, guys? Lucas,
they'll get bowled out before 200 England for me.
Soban.
I think yes, 170 or 180 maximum they would reach, but it's very difficult for Pakistan.
Shameful. Yeah, I can't imagine Australia going full strength against an England B team and getting being like that. Shameful.
Yeah.
Okay,
And I
guys.
think, Gaurav, if you remember the old Indian team when they used to struggle, they couldn't acclimatize to the cold. That is what happening with Pakistan. This is 20 years back. This team
But
represents India 20 years back.
but Soban, one thing for sure, this is England B or C team. You don't have any excuse that it is a cold or and Babar likes of Babar Azam, Fakhar Zaman. I think they have already told England before also. Then nothing. They are not new to the international cricket and
Uh,
Imamul Haq also. They've told
but
England
Gaurav,
many times.
no, I'm a little bit different in this. I have also seen top New Zealand players when Pakistan tours New Zealand. I watch all the games, so I have seen players like Jacob Duffy, players like Blaine Tickner. They pick up wickets. I think this is just the mindset. Saqib Mahmood, all are playing cricket. You have to understand this. All are playing county cricket. All are playing blast. So all are in the rhythm. They're just that's what I said. They were just surprised. They were just ambushed with the pace and the swing and the bat and the ball. So that's why I feel for a subcontinent team, it's always difficult. Even if it would have been Sri Lanka, it would have been very difficult for India also. It would have been also quite 50-50. But once the team is down and you have to just pick up, I feel this England side, you are portraying it as seaside, but they are all used to these conditions. Conditions play a
Yeah,
massive role
obviously.
in England.
Obviously, they are
Well,
playing in their home side, home conditions, so this is the big advantage for them also.
yeah, I disagree with that a little bit. I'll give the young players a pass, but players like Bubba who's been there before, he doesn't get a pass for me. He's been
Yeah.
pathetic,
Good.
to be honest. So I don't know what's wrong with him.
Okay, guys, it's time to wrap the show. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Lucas. Thank you, Seven, for joining us. It was a pleasure talking with you. We'll meet you tomorrow at the same time. We'll discuss some other topics on cricket-related queries. And it's time to wrap the show. Thank you, guys. Do like my videos, subscribe it, and don't forget to share it and hit the bell icon also to get a latest update on the cricket stuff, cricket-related content. And we will be definitely giving a lot of content related to cricket. It's time to wrap the
Yep.
show. Good night, guys. Take care. We'll
Thank you.
meet
Good
you
night,
tomorrow, and
everybody.
you can follow. Yeah, and do follow me on Instagram, Twitter. I am with the same name. It's Gaurav Ayaan. Thank you,
Yep.
guys. We'll meet you tomorrow. Bye,
Don't
Lucas.
forget to like and subscribe. Thank you. Bye.
And don't forget